can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Don, because we've
Brisk or fucking cold?
Don, language, please.
I've got
Don,
thermals
Don,
on.
we've got kiddies.
I've got thermals on, a woolen jacket, 3 layers,
We've
and you
got-
come in with a T-shirt,
Don,
2 T-shirts,
Don.
a pair of shorts.
We've got kiddies now listening to this because
really?
cause this is how popular this has become.
Kiddies. What are kiddies? You mean children? Kiddies are goats, baby goats, aren't they? Kids.
Holy mackerel. In the house, Sue Stanley, 25-time world aerobic champion.
Geez, I get better every time he mentions
really?
it.
Well, 4.
25.
4-time. And we've got Ivan. Ivan said he was on the plane coming
Again.
over. This is what
Again.
Ivan said.
Did he get recognised in the airport? Did he have his photos taken, selfies? He's taken selfies with different people.
I hand them out.
Yeah, he does, and autographs them. He autographs his own photographs, Ivan.
It's going to be one of these days.
Shut the fuck up. Ivan was cutting off the... What's wrong with you?
He was cutting off the...
Getting off the plane and he was walking through the airport and someone yelled out to him,
Ivan!
Don, I tell you what, I'm going to turn your microphone off in a minute. Someone yelled out, Ivan, and he said, who are you? I'll give you a shout out. So we're giving...
I'm on drugs.
I'm going to say,
You go, thanks for that stuff
Are
you
you
gave
on
me. It's
analgesics?
terrific. No, that stuff you gave me. it's
Magic
terrific.
mushrooms?
No, that little white stuff, I thought it was sugar. I crushed it up. You told me it was sugar.
Little white, what's little white
All
stuff?
that
you
white
crush?
stuff, you know, you told me to kind of put it on a plate and put it on, get you out your card, your bank card, and put it into little lines, and then you go...
He's on fire.
Wait, what do you do,
Something's
Don?
happened.
Do that again. So you're snorting coke, Don, are you?
Well, you showed me. Told
Yeah,
me what
I
to do.
showed you how to do it,
Yeah.
yeah, but we didn't actually have any coke at the time.
Didn't we?
I was just
oh,
saying.
Well, what was the stuff you gave me?
I
Sugar.
gave you,
Yeah,
yes.
sugar, was it?
Christ almighty. Look, the bars aren't up. What's happened here? What's happening?
No one's talking.
No, I'm talking. Look, what's happened? What's happened there, Sue?
Jack!
We on?
Jack!
Does that mean we're on?
Yeah, we're on. Yep.
Does that mean we're on?
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
What's wrong? Why aren't the bars up? Anyhow, Don, shit. Ivan, someone yelled out to Ivan, so we're giving a shout out to the bloke who yelled out Ivan at the airport, Josh.
Josh, his name was.
Now, before we get on to the shout outs, I just want to mention this quickly.
I'm just looking at the Rogues Gallery behind you. You've got your photographs of you playing football. There's
Just want to
1,
mention
2,
this
4,
quickly.
6.
Look, the bars have come up again. Why didn't they come up? I want to mention this quickly, Don. Someone's got to get on to the fuel companies. I pull up to get some fuel today. Last week, the fuel was $1.80 a litre. I pull up today, it's $2.30, 50 cents. In 4 days, it's gone up a litre.
Price gouging.
That is price gouging, Ivan. And
Collusion.
I just want to mention that. And secondly, I think it's about time, Don, listen to this. I think it's about time we called for Dan Andrews to be impeached. That means run out of office. Why? Do you say why?
Why?
Dan Andrews and his government have cancelled, obviously, the Commonwealth Games. This is almost election fraud. They campaigned on the basis that we had won the tender for the Commonwealth Games.
No,
and
I think
regional.
Go on.
And regional Victoria would all benefit from all the events going out and taking place in all the country outlying areas. And suddenly they realised through their incompetence that they couldn't afford it because the tunnel project is $4 billion over budget. They've already put us into the red for cancelling the East-West Link freeway at the start of the last election that cost us $1 billion. we have got absolute incompetent numbskulls running
but
this state, Don.
Okay, but don't you think it is responsible that he cut and said, no, we're not going ahead?
Yeah.
There's the embarrassment factor internationally. Well, only amongst the Commonwealth countries, because who cares about the Commonwealth Games, really?
So, Don, just...
Only amongst the Commonwealth countries. I think it's responsible. But then again, we do owe each of us $30,000
No, Don,
each. We are
please.
buggered in this country.
You can't make illogical... I agree with you about the Commonwealth Games, Don. I don't think we should have them either. But please, don't go out a couple of 18 months ago or a year ago when you were electioneering saying, oh, we've won the tender for the Commonwealth Games. Hang on, this is electioneering fraud. We have gone out and we've told all the outlying areas, Geelong and Bendigo, they're all going to cash in on all the facilities and all, it's going to be great.
For votes.
And for votes. And then who is running the finances and doing the pencil work to work out how you'd afford it? I agree with you, Don. I don't think we should have the Commonwealth Games either. But that's not the point of this. The point is that he campaigned on it. He promised that we'd do it. Our standing overseas, the government... He who runs it, the government have already cost us $1 billion when he cancelled the East-West Link freeway at the start of the tunnels over budget by $4 billion, and now this. And this is a laughing stock. We should call for his impeachment.
There's other things as well where money's gone. The football clubs, the AFL football clubs in Victoria have each received about $15 million. And also Netball Australia. Why are we sponsoring Netball Australia Victoria? The grand final is going to be played in Adelaide next year, so what benefit is it sponsoring that? The other thing is, when will he said that the government said that they're going to keep the infrastructure they promised these regional towns.
$2 billion.
When and how much is all that going to cost, and when is it going to be done, and is it advantageous to those regional areas having these particular facilities?
Well, do you think he'll take the opportunity and step down now?
He won't step down. I think he's gunning. Somebody told me he's gunning for a job in New York. The other one that's interesting as far as regional goes, and this might be you, this relates to you to a degree, John, I watched the football at Cardinia Park. What is the point of upgrading Cardinia Park to what it is now, a boutique stadium? Who is going to use it? How is it going to be utilised? And how much money have they spent? Because it's a marginal seat in Geelong, they've spent $40 million, maybe plus, on a bloody football stadium. Why?
Yes, Don, all very good points. Very good points, Don. Up for discussion. I don't know why. If we're going to have 3 main stadiums in Melbourne, we have only got 2, haven't we?
2.
Yeah. And they stagger all the games. I don't know why they're... Maybe Geelong's the biggest provincial city in Victoria.
Well, it is.
Yeah, I said
second, maybe. Yeah. Oh, no, it is the biggest. Yeah, you're right. It is.
Thank you, Don. Maybe Geelong is the biggest provincial city.
Not maybe, it is.
Thank you, Don, again.
Good.
And that they might incorporate the Western District and people who can't drive up to Melbourne, and it's part of the overall spread of the AFL. If we could just ask the AFL, I tuned in. I didn't tune in at all, but I noticed I was looking for the scores in the paper. Could we stop the pandering, slobbering, suck-up, virtuous bullshit that the AFL carry on with? Sydney played Brisbane at Cadogan Stadium.
What?
Cadogan. Melbourne played Brisbane at the Wirrarungery Stadium. Carlton played the Dockers at the Wirrarungery. St Kilda played the Suns at Yagambay Stadium. Geelong played Essendon at Wallaboragong Stadium. And
is this through NAIDOC week?
This is.
Is this NAIDOC week?
What NAIDOC month? What we are? These are the names of the stadiums. Not Marvel, not the MCG, not GMHBA down at Geelong, not.
Well, who's driving all this?
Who do you think's driving all this? The patronising suck-ups that are the AFL, the bullshit
Well,
that we have to endure. And could we just say that if you vote for the Voice, you should have your head read?
Well,
why?
Fraser
Because
Island?
It's a crock of nonsense, Don. It's a
Hang
crock
on, you
of
don't know.
divisive-
Nothing's been published yet. I'm still
Oh,
waiting.
it has been. It's
Every-
just
No,
last night it got
I
published.
understand there's a
Dear God.
pamphlet coming out in the mail.
Every
Oh, in the
week you
mail.
say
So it's
this.
online.
it's on.
35,000 downloads in like half an hour. Last night.
Every
it was
week.
Is that a lot, is it?
Every week, Don, for the last
will you
6
shut
weeks.
up for a
Mate,
moment?
every
I'm-
week you
I've
say
just
you don't
got
know what
somebody
it's
with
about.
some intelligence
so why
over
vote
here.
for it if you don't know what it's about? You just go on and on with nonsensical gibberish, Don.
There's a poem called The Desiderata. It says, avoid loud and aggressive people. They're a vexation to the soul. You are a vexation
Well,
to the soul.
stop
Sue
repeating yourself every
Will you
week.
shut up, Sue? 35,000, is that a lot in half an
That's a
hour?
lot of downloads.
Is it really?
That is. So people are interested into saying because they want to make that decision. If they don't understand it, they'll vote no. And if they do want
Have
it,
you
then
read
they'll
it?
vote yes. No, I haven't read it yet.
So, Don, maybe you could read it, and then when I say don't
Oh,
vote for
oh.
it, you say, well, I don't know what it's about. Do some research, Don.
Of course I am, John.
So,
I'll give you the link, okay?
so I go
no, well, I'll
to
get a pamphlet in the mail, I hope.
That'll cost us.
Snail mail.
I go to pick my granddaughter up from, she's 3. And on the wall, as you walk in, on the door, it says, we are proud to acknowledge Aboriginal people as the traditional owners of these lands and waters. As you walk in to pick your...
I told you I took
I
mine to
know.
the kindergarten. It's welcome to country. She's 3.
it's-
I got on the Sky bus.
What, you got welcome to country too, or get off here?
Get off.
Woolworths are now requiring their staff to do comprehensive Indigenous training.
Oh, bullshit.
Woolworths, the staff, Woolworths, who's not even an Australian company, are asking their staff to do comprehensive Indigenous training. What about this? The Cheltenham Secondary College have their puffer jackets, they now have on their school uniform, on one side they have the Aboriginal
Yeah, I
flag,
know.
and on the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
side they have the LGBTQ
Oh, bullshit, do they?
Plus.
on each
Talking
arm.
about supermarkets, can I just change
Do you know
the
what
subject?
you call LGBTQ people who have been barbecued?
What?
Do you know what you call LGBTQ people who have been barbecued? You call them LGBTQ people.
Boom, boom.
LGBTQ, barbecue.
Did you work on that one?
No, Sue told me that.
Now listen, just getting back to supermarkets. I went the other day, forgot a bag.
Didn't realise we
Is
were
it
there.
is it a racket supermarkets are running? They charge you 10 cents for a plastic bag. Now, are they making money on the 10 cents, or are they trying to protect the environment? And why, if they're trying to protect the environment, why are they selling you a plastic bag?
Yes, Don, that is the hypocrisy of people who tell you the climate's changing because of human activity. That is the greatest lie
Yeah, but
that
they're,
is
they're
perpetrated.
selling them for 10 cents.
What's wrong with those? I hope we're on air, because it's the lines have gone completely horizontal. And Don,
We won't be able to replicate
what
this.
was I going to say to you then?
See, that's age coming in. You tell me a lot of things.
He's
and you
flustered,
forget.
isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
but
flustered,
he
isn't
forgets
he?
a lot of things.
So do
I
you
think it's concussion. He handed out
No.
a lot of concussion,
CTE.
and he's got it himself.
Yeah.
He says things. I told you, bullshit. You
Hey,
told
Don,
me.
you're quite
You
right.
are going ratty.
Don,
you
Don.
are slowly going ratty.
Don, you are quite right what you say. You and I don't know if you ever played football at any sort of level, Ivan, and I'm sure Sue didn't. But
How do you know?
I said, I'm sure Sue didn't. But we could go and claim a CC,
That's
whatever
bullshit,
it's
mate.
called.
CTE.
CTE. We could
That's
go and do
bullshit.
that.
I
You
wouldn't do
would be
it.
a prime, but you
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't lower yourself.
No.
Now, Don, you remember last
Do you?
2 weeks ago we spoke to Matt from Best Friends Is it best
Yes.
Between friends.
Oh, Between Friends.
How do you
one.
know the name, Sue? You must have listened. I've forgotten all about it.
Don.
Did it resonate?
I did a
with
bit
you?
of
Did it
research.
resonate with you?
Don.
Like
That's
every
so
other
low.
listener out there did.
Oh, Don.
All he remembers is the
He
mystery.
got
Sue,
so into
I didn't realise you were that interested in that interview, Sue.
Do you remember, Don and Ivan, that
No, I
we
don't.
spoke to Matt from Between Friends
And the
one-
mistress.
and the mistress, Between Friends. So we got an invitation from Matt to go this Saturday to now Sue's going to read out what we got an invitation to, and I said to Matt by text, I rang Phoebe and I said, Phoebe, for research purposes, could you... Where is Phoebe? For research purposes... For research purposes, would you like to come with Don and I and Sue? I'm asking you now, if you're sitting here, would you like to come for research purposes? Now, Sue's going to read out what the night... He texted me and he said he's had unprecedented response to his chat on You
Well,
Cannot
maybe
Be
he can
Serious.
sponsor us.
He said he's
Do you
had...
think he'd
He said he's had unprecedented response to his chat that he had. People have rung and bookings have increased, and he said, we like to go down. Sue's going to read out, if we turn up on Saturday...
We could be sponsored by Between Friends.
I'm just looking
Don,
forward to this.
Don,
seriously.
listen to this.
Go for a
Now,
seat.
don't interrupt her.
Shut up, John.
This is what I want to see you. You got to come along to in neon clothing. Now, do you know what neon is?
Yes, the lights up here. Neon lights. Yeah.
Bright clothing, lingerie and or body paint, and get yourself in the mood with your adoring glow sticks.
What?
Glow sticks there, and you can have wine and pizzas. So you can just have drinks. You don't have to go upstairs, but you can just go down to
So
the
you could
Between
have body
Friends.
paint. You could
Yeah.
put body paint on your snag, Don, and go as a python or a worm, whichever suits better.
I'm more than happy to help out there, Don.
Yeah.
What, with the worm or the python?
No, she'll paint your stick for you, your dick, and you could go there. You could be a hit there, Don. You could go as a sort of a yellow-bellied
Lollipop.
snake. You could go as a viper, a sand.
Hang on, just read. I've got to digest this, Sue. Just read the invitation.
We're
again.
going along.
Shush. Just read the invitation again.
Come
please.
along in your neon clothing,
Really? Yep.
lingerie,
Yep.
and or body paint
Right.
to get yourself in the mood.
Now, what are we going to do?
We're going along, Don. We're going to
We're
wear
just
white.
are we going to sit there or are we going to participate?
Well, it all depends, Don. If you want to get into your lingerie,
Into your what?
lingerie, Don, lingerie.
Depending on how far Phoebe wants to go in her research, though.
Well, do you think Phoebe will get the kit off?
I rang can we ask her?
I
coming
rang her. I
in?
said, "Would you come along?" She said, "Yeah, I'll be in it." She said, "But I don't want to." I said, "Well, don't overthink it. You might get there and think, shit, I'll just rip my gear off."
Do you think she's like that?
No, I didn't say I think she's like that. She might get in the mood, and she might be the only one dressed.
She might bring a photographer with her.
No,
Oh,
no
no, they
cameras
wouldn't.
allowed.
Oh, no cameras?
Of course there's no
Leave your
cameras.
camera at the door. So
This is
So how can you do your research? She could put it in a
Oh,
paper.
you fool! We go along.
She could
and we
put it in the
observe-
wedding pages.
You
She does a
stupid-
wedding column in the Sunday paper.
You asshat.
What?
We go along. How do you do your research? You go along and you
look.
observe, and then you come and speak about it. You don't take photos.
Where is it?
in
Oh, you
Balaclava.
know where it is. It's
Bala-
in Balaclava.
Oh, as if I know where it is.
Well, we told you last time he was
I
here.
have got Alzheimer's, or what do you call it? CTE.
That is
CTE.
correct. Now you're talking, Don. Now you're talking. There's something wrong with you.
Talking.
What?
Talking. You're dropping the G.
Yeah, but
And you're
that's-
spraying when you're talking to the microphone too.
So speaking, I tell you, these people wouldn't go. I saw this headline in the paper. There's which government, now see if you can get this, Ivan and Don.
And
Which
Sue.
government has the Ministry for Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice? Which government has the Ministry for Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice?
I'd have to go with Sydney.
The Afghanistan Taliban have that department.
Close
They
enough.
have stopped. They have stopped, closed down beauty salons. There was a woman going to have her hair done for a wedding, having a hair done, and they've closed down the beauty salons in Afghanistan. Beauty salons are forbidden, and they're clamping down on women not wearing the hijab, or is that the hood jab? The hijab, the thing that covers their face. I think. Well, I think the hijab is the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's up to them, and as long as they're comfortable doing it, well, that's their thing.
Well, hang on, they're comfortable. The people who make laws. What about the women? What about
But
the
they
women?
seem to be accepting. I'm watching a YouTube film on Iran at the moment, and
You say they're accepting, are you?
well,
these
women in Iran seem to accept it. And
I tell you what happens if you're not accepting.
what?
That's what happens if you're not accepting. Sue has another snippet about a man in the Arab Emirates who posted a thing on luxury cars about the Arab Emirates and said, there was wealthy people going in to buy all these Lamborghinis, and they put him in jail for mocking people with money over in the United Arab Emirates. That's the
Serious, in social media.
That's the world we're living in.
No,
Don.
hang on. Oh, you've lost me. He went in posing as somebody.
No,
See if you can understand Sue.
Shush. Yeah, Sue, you tell me. He's not
see if
making.
He
you
owns a
can get
company
through to him,
that
Sue.
hires out luxury cars in overseas. So that's what he does. And he was just doing a video inside of a car with an Arab guy, so just another local. And so they were just mocking up and just having a bit of fun, like you do on TikTok, because it's just a platform for fun. And the government didn't like it, so they arrested him and he's in jail over there.
Is he making fun of somebody?
Well, you're just having a bit of fun, splashing cash, buying all these cars. So they were just sort of mocking up the luxurious
How would
lifestyle
we go
that
over
people
there,
live
do you
over
think?
there.
This podcast, how would it go over
Well,
there?
Not good, Don.
judging by the car you're driving, Don.
No, don't worry about the car. I'm worried about the content of the podcast. Do you think?
That's why we live in this free.
Have we got any listeners over there?
That's why we live in this free country, which actually is almost a police state at the minute.
What?
This is almost a police
It's
state.
not.
If you have a look at what they did with the COVID bullshit.
Oh, that's years ago.
Well,
Move on.
Move on.
I mean, we're rooted. I just went around to our coffee shop around the corner here. He's just recovering now, Peter.
Oh, I see. So,
Shout out to
you're
Peter.
agreeing with me that we're living almost in a
Well,
police
they
state.
really did. It really did fuck the country, the state, the COVID.
That's just what I said.
Yeah,
And if you want a better example of why this government should be impeached, have a look at what they did to iCook Foods. They ran a commercially operated free enterprise business illegally out of office because they wanted to insert their own public-run community chef, and poor old
Hey,
Ian
listen,
Cook
you
had to
three.
scarper up to Queensland to make a living.
Now, listen, you three. Are you finding your money's going as far as it used to? It just dawned on me yesterday. No, I was buying food at the supermarket.
It'd be inflation, wouldn't it?
I just wondered how some of these families are going that are, that are kind of on the breadline or up to the hilt with mortgages and so.
Yeah.
How are they affording to live?
You
I mean,
vote
mine's
in-
gone up about
Vote
a
in
third.
Labor governments, mate, and you'll end up being
No,
a
it's
socialist.
got nothing. No, I talked to the greengrocer about it. It's to do with immigration. The people who grow the greengroceries are not growing as much because they haven't got the labour to pick the stuff.
Yep.
That's
So-
the biggest problem, isn't it?
Beg your pardon?
That's the biggest problem,
Well,
isn't
that's an
it?
immigration. Can't
Yeah.
they do something? I think they were doing something with the islanders, getting them to come
We've
across
got
as
50,000
seasonal,
coming in, haven't we?
What?
We've got 50,000 coming
Temporary
in soon.
seasonal passes, Don.
Yes. But anyway, that's the reason the greengroceries have gone through the roof because they're not growing as much because they haven't got the labour to harvest.
South Bank Restaurant Cafe just shut because they can't have they don't have staff to actually fill the needs of the clients. So they've got the clientele, but they just don't have staff to work there.
Well,
so they
where's
shut the door.
everyone?
No one wants to work. These
What,
kids
are they
of today.
still on benefits or whatever you call it?
Absolutely.
Are they ever?
Really?
Entitlements and benefits, Don.
Don't
That's
you?
why people don't work, because the government
What
hand
about
out
this
stuff.
working from home bullshit? I think the government passed it last week or something. I mean, what's happening with a lot of small businesses, I talked to quite a few of these guys, is that they're competing against the government. Now, the government's giving or mandate last week or something about working from home, and you're running a small business, you want workers, I can work from home. So you
the world
then
has
got
changed
then
a little bit. The
No, but
world's
hang
changed.
on. If you're running a small business, you've then got to compete. How do you compete? You say, "Oh, you can work from home, or I'll pay you more money."
Yep, that's
I
what's
mean,
happening.
it's just a snowballing
One
effect.
of the banks just said that they wanted all their workers to come back into the offices, didn't they? The which bank?
Yeah, no, yes.
Oh, hang on. That's yes, no, yes, no.
Should I throw the... Well,
when
I
the
think
music
blue and
stops,
white
pick a
one.
yes or a no.
Oh, the blue and white one, was it?
ANZ, I think. They've asked all their employees to come back.
They don't
and,
want to...
and they took up a petition to say,
Serious.
no, thank you.
And they don't want to handle cash anymore.
What do you
See
mean?
that? That's
Cash,
the
as
which
in
bank?
dollar notes. Cash. Legal tender. They don't want to actually have
Who,
to
the
handle-
banks?
Yes.
Yeah, Commonwealth.
But you can get it out of the ATM, but you get like a fee on top of it, isn't it? It's like
Yep, you
get
do.
$2,000 out and you
'Cause they
probably
say no
take
one
50
wants
bucks
cash
off.
anymore.
Or you could do what Carolyn Crawford did. Carolyn Crawford is a 71-year-old woman who stole $400,000 from her employee because she got addicted to poker machines. And she said, machines are meant to be fun, she said. I have no luxuries, no holidays. It's an insidious drug, poker machines, worse than cocaine. There's a woman who stole 400 grand from her employee because employer, Don, correct? Because she couldn't stop playing the poker machines, and she's blamed the government. It's an insidious thing.
The government.
It's an insidious thing, worse than cocaine. You get addicted to it. So we're all feeling sorry for Carolyn.
Are we?
Well,
Oh, we should start a
exactly.
GoFundMe then.
Hey, can we have a good
Holy
story?
mackerel.
Are you people looking forward to the World Cup soccer?
Yes.
I am too. Did you watch it last week?
I did. Australia-France, that was a friendly, wasn't it?
Wasn't it fantastic?
I was impressed.
So was I,
very
Sue.
impressed.
It's the first time I've seen an Australian national team up in front. The opposition, who were France, were playing catch-up.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
never seen an Australian team, men or women, play like they did the other night.
And you know what else I thought was
Fantastic
good?
they are.
The
As long as they
commentary.
don't, when they win, hold up
Sue
the
was
Aboriginal
trying to say
flag.
something then, and you
they
just
hold
came
up the
up. Will you
Australian
shut
flag.
up?
When they
Will
win,
you
if they just put up
shut
the
up?
Australian flag, because they play for Australia, not
will
for
you
anyone
shut
else.
up? Sue, yes, Sue.
The commentary was very good too. I thought
Do you
the
think
Australians,
so?
yeah, I thought they did a great job. Because I don't really follow the soccer, but I thought that the commentary was very good.
I
thought it
saw
was
two young ladies. I like watching. See what new
Like
talent.
young ladies you like watching.
Will you shut up? New talent that's
Not just
coming
soccer.
through. And I'll give a shout out to Mary Fowler. She came on.
Does she listen?
She comes from Cairns.
Does she
was
listen to
born
the
in
podcast?
Cairns. She's born in Cairns.
You only give shout-outs
Will you
to
shut
people
up?
who listen.
And she
they
showed.
don't know you're
She
giving
was
them
the
a
goal
shout-out.
scorer. Went onto her left foot. She is a class act, and also a girl from Shepparton called Courtney Vine. I haven't seen her play before, and. What are you talking
Of course
about?
you haven't.
the
You've
vine.
never seen them play
But
ever
I
before.
watch the women's.
No, you don't, Don.
I watch anything Australian.
Do you?
Yes,
Had the billiards championships in Canberra go last week.
there was none.
Yes, there was. I watched it on Seven Mate. Billiards.
Bullshit.
Not bullshit. Now, Don, I want to ask you a
And
question.
Sam Kerr up front, she was centering the ball a lot, but they
fantastic,
just
Sam.
didn't capitalise. No, they didn't capitalise
she's
on her work. They were
fantastic.
bringing the ball back into the centre. If they can get their act together,
Yeah,
Australia,
they
I
could
don't
take
know
the
how
buttered
far they'll go,
confection,
but
Don.
they'll be very good,
Can
I
I
think.
ask you a serious question, Don?
Yes.
And you others.
Yes,
Sue
you others.
and
Good on you.
Ivan. Could you tell me how a group of athletes who play our game, AFL football, who live in a suburb, can get soundly thrashed for 15 weeks in a row by people who live only a few kilometres away in another suburb, and this side...
What are you talking about?
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. And this side that has been beaten for 15 weeks in a row got beaten by the third last side in the competition while they're second last. How can people who play football get beaten for 15 weeks in a row? There is something wrong with a club that can't get people to play football against other footballers who are no better than them, but there's a culture going on. I'm talking about North Melbourne. How couldn't North Melbourne compete with Hawthorn, who are no good, last week, and they get flogged every week? And the players are no worse. They're no less fit. They're just as strong. Why can't they compete?
Well, when St Kilda came into the league, if you want to turn it hasn't changed. When they came into the league in the 1890s, I think they were 6 years in the competition and won a handful of games, maybe 4 games in 6 years. So it's been going on since Adam was a boy, John. So what's your point?
My point is, Don, why are 18 players that take the ground so inferior to another 18 players who only live a few kilometres away in a different suburb? Why is that?
Passion.
It's got nothing
Passion,
to do.
Ivan.
It's got nothing to do. It's a
what's
collective.
What's it got to do with?
Oh, here she is. We'll be able to
Don,
ask.
what does that got to do with?
Fiona.
Female have walked in the
She's
room.
just walked in.
We've lost him.
Fiona.
Don, pay
We're
attention.
going out Saturday night, Fiona. What do you mean, oh God, aren't you coming? Oh, she's got a dinner now.
Okay, you
think
got
we've
dinner with
lost
us at the best. What is it?
What
called?
is-
Between
Let's be
Friends
Wine
whatever
Bar.
it's
You got
called.
to get up into
The Swingers
your
Bar fee.
Okay, now so Don, we've got someone's just entered the room. It's Phoebe, and also Elle.
Elle.
Is that Elle? Yeah.
Looks like Elle McPherson.
Well,
You
I'm
kicked
just-
the hideout
I'm
on
just
her.
wondering why you walked in here with Phoebe. How did you know Elle was coming?
Well, we know each other, but she just pulled up.
Oh, anyhow, speaking off camera. So
Off
Ivan,
camera.
Yeah, speaking of
get
camera.
your ass out of that seat.
Oh,
no,
geez, I got
What
someone.
about a shout out to Joan?
Someone
Joan
better
Hammond.
looking's going to take over.
Remember that painting that you did? Remember the painting
hey,
he
we
did with
haven't
the,
done the shout outs. Go on then, do the shout out to Joan Hammond.
you know when you did
The
that
opera
picture?
singer.
He did the picture, you know, when the skater did the.
Yeah,
Yes.
I painted me on the skateboard, and
Who
she
Joan
bought
Hammond
it.
did.
Yep, Joan Hammond. Where
Well, hang on. I'm getting lost here. Is Joan Hammond the artist?
No, she bought the painting.
Joan Hammond bought the painting.
Yep.
How much did it go
Joan.
for?
We don't know how much she paid for it, but a shout out to Joan. Well done, Sue. Now, Sue, maybe you could, one of you, get out of a chair so we can get.
Phoebe.
Elle, come over here, Elle, please. This is Elle Bailey, and she's coming.
God, Elle got a height from somewhere. Where'd you get your height from, Elle?
Oh, well,
I
maybe
don't know.
I'll
I
tell
think we
you
need to
who
do a
Elle is.
DNA test.
Maybe I'll tell you who Elle is, Don, before you
Okay.
ask silly questions.
Eleanor. Is it short for Eleanor?
It is short for Eleanor, but that's my serious name. We call that my official government.
If you're in trouble, you
Yeah.
get called Eleanor.
Exactly.
Elle-
That's what I tell everyone at work.
Don,
So when I do get Eleanor,
Elle-
I'm
How
scared.
tall are you?
6'2".
Elle is
Oh, really?
Yep.
Isn't it amazing?
Sammy?
When I was young, you could never find a
6'2"?
tall girl. They were
Okay,
all
now.
short,
just
but
waiting
now
for
they're
Don-
tall.
I'm just waiting for Don to finish.
Would you like to do an introduction?
Well, if you'll stop talking, I will. You said, oh, where did you get your height from? Maybe if I explain who Elle is, you'll understand.
Okay.
She is the daughter of Ted and Robin Bailey. Ted is the ex-premier of the state. And she has come in, Elle here, has come in, and she was also, if I could use this word, this woke society that that is careering towards insanity. She was a beauty queen. She won't like me saying that, but she was a finalist in the Miss Universe contest, and she's in here not for that reason. She used to play football for the old Geelong Football Club, and she's not in here
Hang
for
on,
that.
what, the amateur team?
Oh no, the AFL.
Well, I
team.
don't know. I'm asking.
The old
Amateurs?
Geelong Football Club. What do you reckon?
What is that,
that's-
collegians, grammar, or the amateurs?
It's amateurs, Don.
Grammar.
Oh, no, hang on. See, she's corrected you.
It's the amateurs.
She-
Doesn't matter what.
Vatha. If that helps.
Because there's Geelong amateurs, there's collegians, and there's grammar.
No, he's
So
got to
she's
score
not
points.
in here because she's the daughter of Ted and Robin. She's not in here because she's a Miss Universe finalist. She's not in here because she's an old Geelong Football Club player. And she's not in here necessarily because she's an ambassador for the Guide Dogs Australia. She's a triathlete, a photographer, a sports fan, and she's in here because Elle Bailey has launched a podcast to do with Formula One motorsport.
What?
And I hope I speak clearly, Don. Formula One motorsport. And she's doing it with two other people, a woman called Pat I presume it's a woman.
Yes.
Pat Valmello and Amy Perovic. And so
Val's daughter.
I don't know if I've spelt that. I don't know if I pronounced that properly. And we are welcoming Elle to You Cannot Be Serious. I'm sorry it took so long to introduce you, Elle, but welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What
for
do you
having me.
talk about on Formula One? They just go in a
What
circle
a great
and
opening
don't.
question,
God.
Don.
And they never change position. There's nothing.
Why don't you
exciting
ask her
about
why she's doing it and how it came about and all that stuff?
Well, you can, but I'd like to know why you're doing a podcast on Formula One.
Because it's the best sport ever.
Really?
Thank you.
It's so good. It's so good. You've got all these short little rich men chasing each other in cars,
Which
which is, goes into so much more
Which
detail.
begs the
than that.
question, Elle, why aren't there any short little rich women doing it?
Well, they are there, but that's a whole big topic of conversation. They could be competing in the Formula One. There's nothing stopping them.
Like Danica Patrick.
Yeah, they could.
She could. I think she did drive a Formula One car, Danica
Yeah,
Patrick.
there has been women in the Formula One many years ago. I'm not going to butcher their names because I don't know their names, but they're there. And then there's the F1 women's, but
So
it's
I'm,
not a huge
I'm a
thing.
bit
F1
like,
is what? Formula One. is it?
Formula One, yeah.
You can see I'm into it.
I'm a bit like you, Don. I'm asking Elle how she would possibly be interested in that. If you say that's the best sport ever, I watch it every week, and I have forever, and it is the most disappointing sporting event I ever watched. The lead up is fantastic, and once the race
What do you mean the lead up?
Because there's so much fanfare. There's
The
so much
lead up.
strategy. There's so
lead
much
up.
preparation. It's like, have you been to Melbourne Grand Prix?
Never.
It's like a travelling circus.
Oh yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
It is a. And I
And
understand that.
all the intensity leading up to it as well. All the rumours swapping around.
Rumours.
Yeah, rumours.
So when I said lead up, Don, what did you think I meant?
Shut up.
Well,
I'm
what did
trying
you
to
think I
engage
meant?
Elle here.
Seriously, the lead up is fantastic. All the hype and the interviews and the cars, gleaming $1 million cars, $1 billion cars sitting on the grid. And once the race starts, it's the most anticlimactic thing you can get, unless you can knock
Elle,
out
do you think
the
they
first
could-
car, crash it into the barriers.
I've watched a bit of it, Elle. There's a circuit that intrigues me. It's called Monte Carlo. Now, if you get in front at Monte Carlo,
Monaco.
Monaco, is it? Anyway, once you get in front there's no way knowing you're going to get past. You just take up the whole road or sit in the middle of the road and no one can get past you.
Exactly. So that's why Sunday in Monaco is not that interesting. The big day is Saturday, and that's qualifying, and that's where the cars can get potentially knocked out in their 3 rounds of qualifying. And they all go at different times, so don't all start at once. So that's the
So
important
you go
day.
and watch the qualifiers.
Oh yeah.
Of course
That's
you
the
do.
Oh
most
yeah, that's the most interesting part
intense.
about
Yep.
Monaco. But then also, obviously you don't want this to happen, but it does create a bit of buzz. Is on race day if they crash. That's
That's
that
the
causes
only thing we hope,
difference.
Don, that we don't have any injuries, but we can get the top leading car to crash so that the others can have a competitive race. Verstappen makes a mockery of it. Schumacher used to.
Senna?
The boy who's just retired now, Sebastian.
Vettel.
What's his name?
Vettel.
He used to make a mockery of it. If you can just get
Mockery in what way?
because the front car is so superior, in talk about tenths of seconds for a lap, so superior that the race becomes a farce. Unless
Okay,
you
Elle,
can
can
get
I
the
ask you
leader out.
something? You're into it. God, I've forgotten his name.
All right, I'm gonna
The Australian.
Daniel
who's-
Ricciardo.
Danny
Ricciardo.
Yeah.
Now, what chance has he got? He got a reprieve and he's been
Yeah.
taken up by another
AlphaTauri.
He's coming back this weekend, and that's what we're super excited about.
Why?
We just dropped our first a new episode this morning, and I was listening to it on the way here, and all we talked about was Danny Ricciardo. But pretty much, there was a driver called Nick DeVries. He got a chance last year. Got a call up when Alex Albon was sick, and he performed really well. And so then AlphaTauri picked him up to drive this year, and pretty much, to put it blankly, he sucks.
So,
And he hasn't got any
he
points.
now, hang on, who sucks? Debris?
Nick DeVries, yeah.
Why?
Because he can't drive a car. He doesn't get any points. He doesn't do anything. So
Well, what
they're
about
booting him
Ricciardo?
out.
Why did he get demoted or he can't drive either then, obviously, or he's lost his edge. Is that right?
he was driving, he was performing, but not in a very good car. And then there was no place for him to go because all the teams had their spots filled. So then he went back to Red Bull, was a reserve driver. AlphaTauri is the sister team of Red Bull. They wanted to boot Nick out, and so they put Danny there.
Hang on, let it go.
Hang on, Don, just a minute. So Elle, people will find it strange that the credentials I've read out about you, your CV, I won't go on about the beauty queen and all that stuff. And how in the hell, what interested you to start a podcast on Formula One? How did you get involved in it? Did your old man and your mother, they not into car racing? What do you like about it? Have you ever met any of the drivers?
Yeah, well, Dad actually got me into F1. He took me along about 10 years ago. He's mad about it.
Is he?
And I just fell in love with it. And I worked for the AusGP at one point. And I love the whole idea of the sport, and it's so interesting. And so,
do you drive? Have you ever raced a car before?
I haven't, because I'm too tall actually to fit in one.
Yeah, that is quite true. Not to fit in a Formula One car.
So have you got to be a particular size and weight to drive those cars?
Yeah, you do. It's very much like being a jockey. You got to hit weights, and all of that makes a difference whilst you're driving the car.
So the shorter you are, the better weight.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the leaner. That's why I drive the big beast out there.
No, but have you ever driven? You don't have to be. You can be your height, because I've raced cars. Have you ever raced a car on a track or been for a drive day on a track?
I haven't. I've done an F40 around Melbourne Grand Prix track before.
What's an F40?
Ferrari F40.
Yeah, it's Ferrari.
It's a nice car.
Doesn't matter if you don't know what it is, Don.
It's
all right.
a very nice car, and that's about it.
Most overrated car in the world, a Ferrari.
You've got
Most
one out the
overrated
back.
car in the world.
Haven't you got one out the back?
No.
Oh, Lamborghini.
Yes. Proper car. Proper supercar. Not a
What's the saying?
toy. Frank Sinatra said, if you want to be someone, drive a Ferrari. If you are someone, drive a Lamborghini. Anyhow, that's by way of so and you do it with Miss Valmailor and Miss
Pejokovic.
I'm very sorry, Amy. I didn't know how to pronounce your name.
Yeah.
So you do it with those two.
And are those other two girls obviously interested as well?
Yeah, we're all mad F1 fans. We love it. Amy and I met through the Melbourne Grand Prix a few years ago, so we love it, and we just thought, everyone's sick of us talking to our friends about it, so let's create a podcast.
So
do it.
this year, there's a big track, Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
So where they petition off the streets and they just run down the streets.
Like they did at Chicago in the NASCAR a couple of weeks ago. Shane Van Gisbergen. So have you ever met any of the drivers?
I have, actually.
And have you ever been out with any of the drivers? Have you been
I haven't.
wooed by any of the drivers? You would be, they'd flock to you like moths around a light.
I haven't personally, but I do know that they are quite sneaky.
Sneaky? What do you mean by that?
They like sliding into people's DMs when they're in.
Don will have no idea what you've just said.
What's the DM?
No, you got me too. DMs.
It's like Instagram. You message someone on Instagram.
Direct message.
Direct message.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So Elle.
And you can be sneaky about it.
Elle.
Yeah.
What sneaky F1 drivers have DM'd you?
None for me,
You're not
unfortunately.
fibbing, are you?
No, I'm not. I haven't.
Who would
If
you-
they did, it'd be more exciting, I'd probably say.
Who would you like to DM you if you had a choice?
Well, they're all so bloody young. They're all about
and
23 and small, so probably none. And I probably would be real annoying. I was bothering them this year at the Melbourne Grand Prix. I bothered you at one point, Sam. I got too happy on the champagne and was running around with my phone interviewing them.
I went with Phoebe to the Grand Prix. She took me to the Grand Prix, and more people spoke to Phoebe. I just stood in the background carrying a bag. No, it's not a lie. She can't hear you. Can't hear you, Phoebe. So, Phoebe, introduced me to Elle. And she said that she was doing all this. I think you said you were doing all this, or have you just started that? How long is the podcast? What's it called?
Paddock 43.
Paddock 43. Yeah. Why?
Why 43?
Yes.
Why Paddock? So Paddock is the Paddock Club, obviously, at every Grand Prix. That's where all the garages are and all the drivers are, and it all happens. And then each driver has a number. So Lewis Hamilton, he's number 44. Lando Norris is number 4. And we thought, let's insert ourselves on the track. So we're number 43.
So there's no 43.
No driver's been 43. It's
Is that an
all our
unlucky-
favourite numbers combined.
Is that a unlucky number?
No, I think
4 and 3 add to 7.
Yeah.
7's a lucky
Elle,
number.
tell me something tell me something about it. Why is it that they seem to get a run? And I'm going back years, when Brabham was doing it, and others, they seem to get a run. Why do they get a run and seem to be unbeatable for 12 months and they win the championship, yet then they just go by the wayside? Is it technology? The car is doing something that other people are not up with, and then their technology catches up and then they come back to the field? Why do they dominate just for 12 months?
Yeah, it's all comes down to the technology and the budgets. So Red Bull, one of the wealthiest teams on the track, they've just got all the money to put back into that car, and they can really slam it
And
hard.
what would
And
the
it's annoying though.
What's it?
I'm sick of seeing Max Verstappen up there, and
So
also
that's the point,
Yeah.
Elle. It makes a complete mockery of the
Yeah.
race. It does, and I'm the greatest fan, and so is Ivan. I get up at all hours of the morning to watch it live, and the lead up, as I say, is fantastic. And the first 30 seconds when they get to the first corner, and after that, it is so boring.
Yeah, you watch the back of
which
the grid.
begs the question, Don. The worst car, the slowest and the fastest in a lap is about second and a half, 2 seconds difference, and if you multiply that over 50 laps, it ends up being just they get lapped. So you would wonder how they spend billions of dollars on the car that they can't all be actually just about the same. Well, they are actually just about the same, but it's that distance of a tenth of a second at 300 kilometres an hour is about the length of the straight.
But they can also do stupid things. Like Max Verstappen the other weekend in Silverstone, he came out of the pit very slowly, and he hit the pit wall and had to replace his whole front wing because he broke the thing in half. And he's probably
what's your
driving about
point?
5k an hour.
They're only used to driving at 340.
And went back in and won the race.
Yeah.
So that's the point, isn't
That's
it?
why we watch the rest of the grid. I say my podium's 2, 3, and 4. That's who I care
it.
about.
Well, so that's defeats the purpose of it, Don, doesn't it? If you
Hang
could
on,
just
what did you
shunt-
say then? Your podium is what, 2, 3 and 4? What do you mean?
Because Max is just always winning. So, but also Lewis was always winning. So it goes in circles.
And so was Vettel.
But it's like an AFL team, right? There's always going to be one dominating team for the year. And you get
now
annoyed
you
about
just
them.
you just touched a little bit. What's the budget of these teams? How much does it cost to put a team, because it is a travelling circus? And are they in it to make a profit, or do they just do it to cut even?
Well, there's
No,
probably-
there is a profit.
Yeah.
Yep. The prize money at the end of the year, you'll probably correct me if I'm wrong, but is about $900 million. They
something
divvy up.
around that.
So
yeah.
where does the money come from? Where do they
Television
sponsor?
rights,
Sponsors,
sponsors? Rolex is one of the major
It's
sponsors.
Rolex fascinate me because they sponsor a lot of sport, and you don't think, I haven't seen too many people wearing Rolex watches.
Haven't you? No,
No.
you're not mixing in the right circles, Don. You're down on a farm tinkering around with your horses.
How much is what is the budget for a team? Do you know?
$1 billion.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah, I think
thanks, Elle.
Ferrari's around 200 million. That's what
really?
That's what they say. They
claim.
have budget caps. I know. I think it was Red Bull last year. They went over their budget cap for the year.
Oh, so there's
But
caps.
But they did. They went over.
like the
I think it was
AFL.
$80,000 on catering. That's where they're.
So, Elle, have you been over? Has any teams invited you to go over and look how they operate, or would you like to do that? Go and just see just what the expense and the extravagance
Oh,
of
yeah.
putting a team together is. Someone would grab you with open arms, I'd reckon.
I would love to do that. The closest I've got to that this year, I was in the AlphaTauri garage after the Melbourne Grand Prix drinking Negronis with the engineers. So
With the engineers. I
yeah.
tell you what,
They're
see if
knocked off by
why
that
don't you
point.
see if you can DM Charles Leclerc
Yeah.
and see if you can get him to ask you to go over and look at the Ferrari factory in Modena in
Alright.
Italy.
I'll see if he replies.
I've been to Modena in Italy,
Have you been to the factory?
been to the factory.
How was it?
It was fantastic. They have all on display all the cars that have won the championships or the Grand Prix championships, and then I went down to the proper factory. I went down to Lamborghini just down the road and saw them
Talking
making the
about
cars.
Ferrari, have they got two or a number of divisions? Because I watched that film about Shelby, the Ford, when they took on Ferrari. So have they got open wheelers as well as...
Open wheelers. The
those
F1
things-
cars
if
are
F1
open wheelers.
Yeah, but then you've got those other cars that race at Le Mans. Le Mans?
Le Mans. Yeah.
They're different.
Ferrari Mr. Ferrari Enzo said he's only in business to. Well, he didn't say this, but they said Ferrari only got into business so they could fund their racing team. They're not interested in their road cars.
Yeah, but Le Mans is a different...
It is 24-hour race.
Yeah, but a different car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got a
different car.
feeling.
I don't think Ferrari
are
run
in
them.
that. No, you've got
Ferrari was in it against
Toyota.
The Ford when the
Yes.
Ford was going.
Yeah, that's going back a
That's
few
going
years.
back. They don't do it anymore.
Why don't do they race at Le Mans? Le Mans?
Ferrari
Open wheels?
don't race at Le Mans
Why not?
because they've
'Cause they're
moved
not
on.
in-
Hang on, Elle. Yes, Elle.
I reckon Sam can answer this one for
No,
me.
no,
Look, they're just that's not the business that they're in. They're in the Formula One business.
Who?
They've got the heritage, Ferrari.
I said, why don't they race the Formula One at Le Mans?
She
Because
said
they're
that's
not into
the
it.
business they're not in, Don. You got to listen to Elle.
Elle,
You're captivated
it looks
by what
like
she
you could
looks like.
pass somebody on that Le Mans circuit.
Yeah, you probably could, but imagine putting an F1 car going for 24 hours.
What? No, I'm not saying 24 hours. Can't they do it for a couple of hours around Le Mans? Because at least you look like you can pass
24
somebody.
hours it is,
Will
Don.
you shut up, John?
Don, what's
Well,
happened
maybe they
is,
do, but I don't know if they're going 24 hours. I'm not really into that.
Don,
sort of
what's
side of
happened
things.
is you've been so overcome by Elle's beauty.
No, I've got to
that
ask
you've
her
lost
one more-
track of what you're
I
asking
have
her.
not.
You're not listening to what she says.
We had
they
a
don't
good-
do that.
We had an interview here, Elle, and I've gone away and thought about it quite a bit, and it revolves around your father.
Yeah.
Because I live down on the peninsula and I look across at the heads. Is he training to swim the heads again?
I'm sure he would if he could.
What do you mean? Why can't he?
I think you have to be a certain body fat percentage now.
What, has he lost a lot of weight?
Well, you know, he trains. He's quite a fit, tall guy. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to have.
But he swum it a number of times.
Oh
the heads.
yeah, but I think it's a lot more regulated now.
Because I look at it and it's a scary bit of water to me.
I would never in a million
No.
years. No way.
It's just, since we did that interview with him, I've just been fascinated by
The longest one I've done was Frankston to Mornington, and
What?
I think that's supposed to be that. It's called the Bloody Big Swim, and I think it's supposed to be about 8 kilometres. And I, on my watch, tracked 14 kilometres because I thought my kayak was spotting me, and the kayak thought I was spotting, and he was just next to me, and we ended up out in the middle of the bay. 4 seasons, and it went pitch black, and all I could think and visualise was like jaws just coming out at me.
So you're a
Gross.
swimmer as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, if I may ask you, Elle, when were you a finalist in Miss Australia?
That was in 2019.
And
Yeah.
had it dumbed itself down? Had we gone woke by then? Did you get into the swimsuits, and was it a beauty thing, or was it more an intellectual thing and gowns and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, Fee was one of the judges actually.
Who was?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fee was.
Yeah, Phoebe.
She was one of my judges.
She
Yeah.
get into the bikinis?
I did.
Holy mackerel!
I did.
It's a
I did.
chance to have a look at them on a line somewhere. You in a bikini, please, Elle. Don, don't look at me like that. If it's publicly on view, I'd like to see Elle, a picture of Elle in a bikini.
Why?
Why?
You're a perv.
I am. You are absolutely correct.
Yeah,
Don.
look, they've changed the competition massively. That they actually do focus on building up a lot of your confidence and public speaking and going into different points of awareness for where you want to take that.
I tell you what would be the final insult, Elle, is if a trans man entered the Miss Universe.
There has been.
There has.
I know.
Yeah.
Someone
Imagine
in the
being
US.
beaten by a bloke for
Well,
a
there
woman's
was.
title.
There
Yeah,
was
well,
just
you know what?
recently
a lot
in
of them
Europe.
are a lot prettier
That's irrelevant.
and smarter as well.
That's irrelevant.
But aren't there many
Yeah,
different?
because,
Aren't there many different pageants?
Yeah, there's a few different ones out there. So,
So which is the one that holds the most credibility?
Miss Universe? That was Donald Trump's old
yeah,
one.
I was gonna say
but
that.
I'm fascinated. I've got a feeling you're taking. You've taken that not exception to what I said then, but you think it's quite legitimate, do you or not, that a trans man can enter a beauty contest for women and win?
Yeah,
You think that's okay?
yeah. Why not?
Why do you think that's okay?
Because
That's an insult to women.
They identify themselves as female.
That is.
Oh, come on.
Please. Now, Elle,
But hang on,
I
but
don't want
when
to.
I did Miss Universe, I play footy. Well, I don't anymore, but I was then. I was the girl that was, if we were at a resort for a Miss Universe thing, I was the one that was on a floaty in the pool whilst everyone's taking photos, and I'm sinking a beer with a cigar in my mouth. And there's photos of that. That's the sort of person
That's how
I
I
am.
want to picture all the contestants. Just with,
Yeah.
with
So
stubbies
I
and-
was
and
I was the
cigars.
different one. It was probably a bit unusual for me to do Miss Universe, but I had
Well,
the
why
time.
did you do it?
Because I had the time, and I thought, why not?
Well,
Give
why
something
not?
a
Yeah.
chance.
So
It could turn out well for me.
I'm going to ask you just again. I'm fascinated by this, and please, with great respect, if that's what I can't understand, and this is probably because of our generation. I cannot understand how people will accept a trans person. I don't care what you are in life, be whatever you like, but why be arrogant and pompous enough for a man to pretend he's a woman and insert himself into women's sport or women's competitions? What is that about, Elle?
I reckon sport's a little bit different because you've got physiological things that are different hormones. A female doesn't have as much testosterone as a male. So in swimming, that's a massive difference, particularly in running.
sport. Yeah, what about
But you're not-
pretending you're a woman and winning a woman's title?
But they're not pretending at that point. That's how
Elle,
they identify
please.
themselves.
No, but of course they do. They identify themselves as females. But you said
No,
you
I
said
think
they
she's-
are.
No,
what?
no,
She said it's
I
subjective.
understand
You're
what
going
you're trying to
down
get
along
at.
those
It's not a
lines
bad
with the
argument.
What
you
is
put
the
forward.
argument?
I think when
Yeah,
it's beauty,
it's not
fine.
okay.
What's the argument?
Yeah, it's kind of based
Tell me
on
the argument, Don.
aesthetic. It's based on aesthetics,
It's aesthetic
isn't
and
it?
it's your mind. It's how you can
As
speak
as
and
you
communicate
perceive
with people.
somebody.
Yeah.
What's that bloke that's on? Well, I suppose you call him a bloke. He gets dressed up as a woman and does the interviews on the ABC.
Dame Edna?
No, you weird Dame Edna. It's got blonde. She or he. It's
Caught in the act? Is that the one?
I don't know.
Well,
Well,
my point is, and
Courtney
I
Act, is it?
absolutely accept what you're
Well,
saying.
she's very
but
attractive,
my
or he
point
or she.
is, if you are a biological woman and you're in a competition that is judged for Miss, it's called Miss for women, and a person who is not a woman but just identifies as one beats you or anyone else, what an insult to actual biological women. That's my point.
Well, I think it just comes down to looks in your brain. So I just think go them. Go them.
Looks and your brain.
physically, it'd
Well,
have to all do with the face, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's
How
how
you look,
how you
because-
present yourself and how you walk and how you move.
Yeah, but
and
you wouldn't have there wouldn't be limitations for
You-
it. Hang on.
you could walk in a
Hang
room
on,
and
you've got
command the
false
space.
bra, you'd have to have padding. So
They,
immediately,
they might
what?
have a boob job at that point.
They what?
They might have gotten a boob job at that point.
Oh.
They might have gone the whole trans thing,
Yeah.
Don. That's right. And as I say, we care? No one cares what you are in life, whatever. But to insert yourself into women's domain and pretend you're a woman just seems illogical to me. But that's why I'm.
But
in
Elle's
that
much
era.
younger than what we are, and
really,
she's
Don?
representing a different generation.
And that's why I appreciate what she
And she's
says.
probably going to vote yes for the, what do you call that thing, The Voice?
The Voice.
Well,
Is that what it's called? I'm really not into politics, so
Okay.
not my father's
But your mother,
daughter in that aspect.
your parents are, aren't they? Or is it your grandmother that votes one and your father votes another? Is that right?
Did you
One,
get?
they're
Did you
opposed
get into
politically.
playing football?
I did. I would walk out looking like Chris Judd. I was strapped to the nines.
Were you?
Everything. I'm so tall. I fall off chairs.
So
playing-
why'd you play football?
Because why not?
Yeah.
If you got to get
and
strapped
Dad-
up to that degree.
Yeah, because it was, why not give it a go? I was jealous of the boys having a team sport, and girls don't really have a team sport after school. So I wanted to, have that camaraderie and
What
go to
about-
a club afterwards.
Did you ever play? This was in a women's comp?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you ever have any people pretending they were women play? Ladies, men.
I don't know, actually.
You don't
You'd
know.
dominate the ruck, wouldn't you?
No, I'm so bad.
You're bad.
Did you hit anyone like these guys?
Look, I tried so hard, and Dad used to come to a lot of the games because, we're in navy and white hoops, so he was just happy to have a kid sort of semi-playing for Geelong. That's all he ever dreamed for one of us. So he would actually sometimes walk out onto the field. And,
What an ugly
you've got
parent.
you've got the umpires going, Dad, get off the field, and
Well-
yelling at him. And I was, then I'd call up after some games or practice and be like, I'm on my way to Epworth.
Do you know I
I've
used to live
broken
in that
another
house
finger."
that you live in now? Or do you still live at home?
I don't live at home. Did you, though?
Yeah, that used to be a block of units. Do you realise that?
I thought it was a boarding school.
And out the back, there was a little garage where
Yeah.
the Hawthorn footballers were first introduced to pornography back in 1968.
Moving right along.
Thanks
Don,
for
at this
bringing
stage,
that
I think
Because
possibly...
pornography was a no-no back in those days.
Do you know
So
that you can
there's
get-
a little bit of history.
You can get pornography on the internet?
No?
Oh, there you go. Apparently Tom Cruise only just found out about that the other day.
On that note, what a delight, Elle, for you to come in here and tell us what we should be thinking about the world as it moves on and dragging us into the 21st century. Paddock 43, Don, is the podcast that Elle does with her two companions who are
Pat and Amy.
Pat and Amy.
Yep.
And Paddock 43, all things Formula One and anything else, Don. And thank you very much for coming
No.
and visiting us at You Cannot Be Serious.
Thank you for having me. Let me know if you listen. Keen to get your thoughts
On what?
feels on F1. And also, actually, because you don't know about F1, we've got a mini series that we are dropping every week, and we're going back to basics. So last week it was what is F1. So maybe that's something for you.
That is it, Don.
That is all.
Say goodbye.